Hi everyone, we're back to talk about it. And how are things going, Linda? What have
They're
you been
good. I
picking up?
just got back from Oklahoma and I just did a little video that's coming up in a minute with questions you can't answer. They're psychic questions.
Hmm.
And I could have swore I thought Marsha Blackburn would not win Tennessee,
Hmm.
but the cards were better for Johnson, Gloria Johnson. The cards
Hmm.
were much better for her. But I'm getting it's almost like it's really close. So I'm praying that it's Gloria Johnson.
Now
Okay.
that's really hostile territory, isn't it, Tennessee?
Yeah,
It's yeah.
Tennessee. And if Blackburn wins, it's almost as if she cheats. But
Hmm.
you got some good news. You looked up some stuff. I asked you to look at Nikki Haley.
Yeah, well, and because of this thing that she just did, and uh, I think she's destroyed her career because
Oh my God, you don't even know it because the video isn't up. You should have seen the cards. Take a look at my video when it comes out. That's exactly the cards were horrible, as bad as Bill Barr. She's ruined her career
yeah.
because on the news they were talking to people that voted for her. It's unfortunate she had an event last week raising money with these people, knowing that she was going to vote for Trump.
It's really puzzling. I mean, sometimes I think with the times we're in, because they're so unpleasant. But one advantage of the side we're on is there are a lot smarter people. There are people on that Republican side that are not very smart. What she did this here is it's very politically out of whack. I mean, the things she said about Trump, there's no coming back from that now. If she, for example, there's no way, I don't think I would be amazed. Do you see Trump picking her as the running mate? Because
Oh
that's
God, no.
right. So there's gonna people will throw in her face. I mean, you said all these things about him, and now you're gonna vote. And for instance, she said, "Gotta vote for Trump because Biden is terrible. Trump is better for capitalism." Well, that doesn't match the stock market. Stock market is at 40,000. What do you mean? What's wrong with capitalism? It's working just fine. Uh, on the level of debt, Trump increased the debt more than anyone in history, right? So, and then she said, because of our allies, Trump doesn't respect our allies. So all the reasons you're giving for backing this guy are the wrong reasons. Not to mention that you said he's unhinged, he's shouldn't even get a driver's license, he's
Yeah,
chaotic,
because
he's
he
not
talked
fit to be
terrible
president.
about the military. Yeah.
Yeah, so it just seems really puzzling. It's almost like she's thinking, I got to do this because no matter what happens in November, I would still have a future in the party. Well, do you want a future in the MAGA party? That's a pretty scary future, until that party reconstructs. It's probably not a good plan.
I'd
So,
love to see what you saw on her chart, but according to my cards, she shouldn't make any plans. She got nothing.
well, I think with her chart, the key thing is it's the dark side of she's a Capricorn. The dark side of Capricorn is blind ambition. This is another thing she shares with Ted Cruz. Notice that Ted Cruz, who's another Capricorn, Josh Hawley, these types they're people that put ambition ahead of ethics. And you remember Ted Cruz. I mean, Trump insults his wife, insults him, and then he just turns around and, okay, well, I'll just go with the flow. Same with Lindsey Graham. They just go along. They think that, hey, this is what the voters are saying. Well, the voters are saying that today, but there's going to come a time when if you lose enough, maybe they'll get tired, of voting
Well,
for the
my
same people.
sister said yesterday she's a lot like Ted Cruz. And I don't think we realized on a Capricorn basis. It's just that she allows this person to talk terrible about her
Yeah.
husband and everything, and then she's still going to say. But the good news is this morning they were talking to a lot of people who were Nikki Haley voters. They
Hmm.
were furious. I didn't see anybody saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump too." Some of them said they weren't going to vote at all, and some of them says, "No, I'll vote for Biden."
Yeah, no, it's not good for her. It's not a good development for their party, and you see this a lot. I'll repeat this with these people all across the board. I mean, Giuliani. What about Giuliani? So he goes and he puts on Twitter or wherever it was, Instagram somewhere. He's laughing at the prosecutors, and he gets served that very day because they saw it, right? Oh, there he is. Okay, let's go get him. And then they're complaining, oh, they came after me and they should be prosecuting crimes in Arizona. Yeah, because you're one of the crimes. We just had to fly to get you. I mean,
Yeah, but
that's what we're
the
doing.
guy was there, the server was there singing happy birthday to him.
It's
I
just
got a
incredible.
video, the guy singing happy birthday and you're served.
Yeah, it's
And women
incredible.
were crying and screaming.
Yeah, exactly. So you see how even though this time we're in is at times so unpleasant, but then you wonder about these people because they're not good at what they do. I mean, thank God. That's one of the things someone mentioned to me about another person who's in the news, Netanyahu. Netanyahu is like he would be really dangerous if he were president of the US. Extremely dangerous because he's like Trump, only he's smart. That's the kind of person that is really scary. You get
Yeah.
a person that knows how to pull levers, can communicate properly, and has their head properly screwed on. Very dangerous. But luckily, this whole crew, I don't see anybody. Honestly, I mean, MTG, all of them, up and down the line, anything from insane to bottom line, just not very smart. That's the bottom
Trump
line.
is having, I think, an event tonight in Manhattan, or no,
I hope not.
no, what is the name of the part of Chicago, or not Chicago, New York? He's in New York.
Oh, is he? Huh.
He's in a sort of tough area, but somebody did a billboard that said, don't vote for the psycho, vote for Biden.
Well, New York is pretty hostile. There's no question.
Well, he lost by 23% last time.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I mean, he goes around in his rallies telling people he's going to win New Jersey, he's going to win Minnesota, he's going to win none of that. He just talks. He says things just like he said. I'm going to testify. He said it multiple times. That's the other thing that tells you that his supporters are locked in because no politician would survive the number of times he says things and then doesn't follow through. Another one of his techniques is he'll say, oh yeah, like when they brought up the contraceptive thing. Oh yeah, I'm working on a plan. I'll have that ready in 2 weeks. It'll never be taught. He'll never bring up any plan, right? But he let it slip that, oh, we'll let the states decide. This is not going to be good. This is the part that is really going to kill these guys when it comes to the election because there's no way around the issue of women's rights. None. No matter what they do, wait till Kamala gets in there and starts
Oh,
to
yeah.
move.
Listen, was it North Carolina or South
South Carolina. Yeah, that was the Supreme Court decision. Yeah.
Well, no, sorry, Louisiana.
Oh, Louisiana. Yeah, right.
Just
Louisiana.
voted that methpristine or whatever that abortion drug, they've made it like illegal, it's dangerous. And I said, oh boy, you guys really don't want to make office, do you? Because the women are going to be furious.
Yeah, no, it's they're setting it up to make their situation in November extremely difficult to impossible. It's too hard because there are too many people too many women specifically, right? If it were men, we'd be in trouble.
But can I tell you a hit I got after I did my show? And I'll mention it again. I was minding my own beeswax. And I was thinking about the Supreme Court not releasing the immunity
Hmm.
and how they screwed with Jack deliberately because he told him, please, please come out. And then like it's 164 days has passed.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, why would they do that? And it's just to be mean because you know what? The answer is no, Trump doesn't have immunity. That's the answer. But the only way they have any power over this is making you wait. If they had come up with a good, solid, yes, he has immunity, they would have come out with that yesterday.
Oh no, of course, yeah, no, they're doing it. They're carrying water for him to prevent a trial before the election, and they'll probably succeed. But I'm curious still because I'll repeat this. So right now we're getting to the end of May, and the trial is ending in a really tricky spot for Trump. So I think he's going to get convicted. I would be amazed if he got out of that alive because the energy at the end of May is very complicated. So then that trial has nothing to do with the end of June, which is another tricky spot. Now we already know there's a debate there. That's good. I like that because doing a debate at that point is dangerous for him. But what else might happen? There might be other things. These planetary stations, when you get a couple of them in the same range, it's not just one thing. It'll be the region is dangerous and problematic. So not to do with the Stormy trial. That's earlier, I think. Very unlikely that the jury is still deliberating, into June. I doubt it. I really do. What's
And
your
it
sense of
might
that
be,
trial?
in June, I think is when the Supreme Court comes out with that he doesn't have total immunity.
Right, but then depending on what they say, that could lead to that scenario where they would then be doing, they send it back to Chutkan, and Chutkan can then call hearings to determine what's private and what's
Yeah,
public.
I'm telling you, there'll be something. It might not be the actual trial, but something that shows all everything he did. It's just too much. I love it.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, that people are the polls are still tight and so forth. The biggest problem I think is Biden is really saddled with the Israel problem because whichever way he turns, he gets in trouble. If he doesn't back Israel, he probably loses even more votes than if he does. But when he does, the young vote, and some people, are upset with him and so forth.
Right.
So that's the biggest issue around that. And
Now,
do you
what did
say
you get? What did you get on Nikki Haley
Nikki Haley like broadly or which? What do you
on
mean?
the charts when you looked at her?
On the charts, just that it matches a big mistake, something that a miscalculation, a misread. It's a misread of the situation. So
Okay.
there was a while back I could see the potential for her to be a threat, right? But the way things have turned out, I don't know. Unless do you get any kind of hit anywhere that she's going to be his partner, that they would actually put?
No.
No. So then
No,
she's
and then he wouldn't have her because she could work against him. He got to have somebody that doesn't work against him.
yeah. Well then, yeah. So she basically goes to the background now, and in a different way than the way Liz Cheney, by being honest, hurt her own short-term prospects. I think Nikki Haley's damaged, her career prospects because she kind of comes off as someone that has no real principle. She'll say things, but then they don't really mean anything. This was, by the way, what hurt Romney back in the day. Romney, who's probably the most honest of all these Republicans, back in the day, he couldn't stick to a position. He would say something today, then tomorrow he'd change it. He was constantly listening to see if people liked what he was saying. So then, after a while, I remember McCain, insulting him and saying, "Oh, which position are we talking about? The one from today or the one from yesterday?" It's not good for a politician, to be jumping around too much.
Yeah.
And in her case, the fact that she's done it on something so important and so substantive, I think is going to really hurt her.
And remember, don't forget, Trump said he was going to give us the best health care ever. He had people working on it. He was going to give us the best. He never gave us nothing.
No, he just says things. That movie. There's that movie called She Said, and it was about a woman who was telling on Harvey Weinstein, and so then the whole story of how it took her a while to get the papers to believe her and so forth. The book that ought to be written about Trump is just title it He Says, because that's what he does. He always says things. But as far as doing things, no. In fact, you can count on 9 out of 10 things he says, they're not true, or that he's not going to do them. Remember he used to do that all the time when he was president? Oh, I'll have the answer in 2 weeks. I'll have the answer in 2 weeks. No, he's just pushing it off and hoping you'll forget. And his supporters, they're so focused on the personality and the fact that they believe he's their guy because they want a kind of a thug, dominant person. They were being asked, by the way, did you see the clips where they were being asked, who do you prefer, Biden or Putin? And they prefer Putin.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Russia's towns are this and that. And the guy said from Jon Stewart show, he said, oh yeah, well, it's got the highest murder rate anywhere is Russia. Oh no, we didn't know that, It's like, and what do you think about all these people that he's killed?
Oh, I know, of course. Yeah.
You can't give them facts.
No. But by the way, that's another one. Don't forget that one too, because that is a pretty clear pattern. There's a Saturn-Neptune conjunction every 36 years, And 1917, Russian Revolution. 1952, Stalin died, big change. 1988, another big change. We're coming up to another one. They are not well positioned to,
Okay.
they're not. They're just not. They can talk all they like. It's a very small economy. They've got all kinds of resistance around them. This is not good for Russia in the sense of what Putin is thinking, right? Because the energy in Aries opposes him. So I know that it's been, and why has it been bad? Because the Republicans wouldn't give the arms to Ukraine. That's why, right? Now it's been a little more difficult. Just wait, give it time,
Okay.
to develop. A lot of this shakes out in the new year. This is also what leads us into the other topic, which is Alito and Thomas, right? The two
Yeah.
biggest thorns. Okay, those two, they're the ones that 25, 26, problematic because there's a lot of Saturn, right? They're people that they do well with these irresponsible actions until Saturn finds them, right? And Alito, I mean, what a piece of work that guy is,
But his
Um,
wife did it.
yeah, I know that's a great
And
excuse.
the dog did the one in his beach house. The dog did that one.
No, you're just saying that, right? Yeah. Okay, it's a joke. Yeah, the dog did it. The
Yeah,
dog ate
people say the dog did it. The
the
dog
dog
ate
ate
my,
the flag.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
No.
they are demanding. But you know what, Andre? I don't know if you can see anything on his chart, but I just feel this holier than thou, just like with Thomas.
Yeah, no, Alito is the classic, old style. Well, okay, I'll summarize Alito really quickly, right? It is known that when he was in college, he was picketing to take away women's vote. Okay, that's all you need to know. Just stop right
And
there.
George Bush voted for him to come into Supreme
Okay,
Court.
but this guy, I mean, women got the vote in 1920. Okay, so how retro do you have to be? He believes in that kind of stuff. He's a one of these Christian nationalists, and he believes in male power. Males should run the world. Blah blah blah. That's what he is. And by the way, he's really dishonest because he's supposed to be this brilliant jurist, and his decisions are totally biased. He picks whichever side, he picks his own side. When they
Right.
like what they just did in South Carolina, he wrote the decision saying,
He wrote it, yeah.
no, it wasn't, you couldn't prove it. That's it. End of story. So what do? The Supreme Court badly needs reformation. I know you were saying that you saw Roberts, possibly, right, in the upcoming years leaving.
Yeah, Roberts is going, Thomas is going. I see the Senate like a trial of Kavanaugh, of who's the other guy? Neil, what's his name?
Neil Gorsuch.
Yeah, and I saw Alito too, and they're talking to them. And Alito is probably gonna just quit.
Huh. Well, I mean, the Saturn period. Another one is Elon Musk. They run around kind of wild. Saturn comes in and it calls you to account, right? That's why Trump is having so many problems, because the idea, whenever you're being hemmed in, you have to be in court and you have to keep your mouth shut. You can bet Saturn's in the building when that's happening.
Okay.
Every time, right? Because he really couldn't. I mean, you can't. Look what happened to that other guy, the Costello character. I tried to look for his birthday, and I found the birthday, but I don't trust it 100%. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's it. But he's another one that went in there and started to annoy the judge, and the judge told him, hey, you can't do that here. If you keep doing
I
that.
thought he was gonna he was a big shot. He was gonna really help Trump.
Yeah, but see, that's another example, right? You see, again, a great example of these are their geniuses. This is your lawyer. He thinks I'm going to go in there and fix the problem. He made it worse. If he had stopped and not gone in there, because then they got him to admit, on the cross examination, he had to admit, yeah, we were kind of doing a catch and kill on Michael Cohen. That doesn't look good, because now Michael Cohen looks great, right? Before that, they thought they had caught him in something. Again, though, you're a lawyer, you're supposed to have a brain in your head. Why are you doing these things? Don't you know that the other side has lawyers too, and they're going to ask you questions?
And I predicted that judge was gonna tell the jury to leave. Like 2 weeks ago, I said I see the judge
Yeah.
furious and telling, and he not only told the jury, he told everybody in
Yes,
the to
yes.
leave. I got about 100 messages. Girl, exactly what you said came true. But I thought he was mad at Trump, but he's mad at the Trump team for allowing that putz to come up there.
Well, I mean, okay, Trump, you were right about Trump too, because there was another reference that the judge, without clearing the room, told Trump's lawyers to get Trump under control because he was cursing under his breath, and he said, "Hey, you got to get your guy to stop doing that." So probably he told him, if he keeps doing it, I'm gonna, have him
He did.
removed
He told him he would put him in a different room.
in a different room. Yeah, yeah. So, and you need to. I mean, if you don't respect the judges, this is what these guys are doing. They're trying to undo the entire legal system, and that's not good for a country.
Well, I got a good strong hit when I got the hit about the leave the room. I also got a hit that the jury, I looked at the jury and I felt them thinking, because Trump sleeps, passes gas, and snores. I felt they felt he doesn't give a crap and he's not interested. Like, it really determined their opinion of him even more so. Like, look at him. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about this trial.
Yeah.
And so I felt that was kind of amplifying their guilty verdict. And also, I want to say another thing. I don't know if I just told you this, but I do feel, excuse me if I've got, I just flew all those miles. I do feel that the reason that, I think I told you this, tell me if I told you this, that the reason that Supreme Court isn't releasing the immunity is because they're messing with Jack Smith, but they know they have nothing to stand on, that Trump does not have full immunity.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to it, but now you said it even more clearly. Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because
No,
and
and
hits I got.
like that's where what I added to that was that it's a delay tactic, because if you can prevent the trial from going forward, then you help him. I mean, for Trump, that trial would be devastating. If you put him in a trial where it all comes out, it just adds to it. But even this one that he's in is not exactly a good thing, because he committed a felony. So that's not a good thing if you lose a trial like that. And the
just
evidence
now-
presented.
Just now while I was talking to you, I just got another hit. I got a hit that down the road, might be a year or two, but when things settle out with the Supreme Court, I see one of the liberal justices actually talking in an interview or something, or maybe she retires. Maybe it's that one they've been asking to retire, or book or something. And she gives the truth about what happened behind closed doors with those cray grays.
Well, that would be fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had other things you checked into.
I think I may have covered most of. Let me think. Well, there was also that we already. I mean, no big news here, but there was that thing with MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. That thing that she started. Her planets are not good, and the good that comes in now, because Jupiter goes in her sign, but you're going to see this with Trump too. And this also reveals not a lot of bright light bulbs in this party. So what they do is they think that something is a good idea, and they rush into it, and then it blows up in their face. Which, by the way, another thing to mention around this notion of a lot of dim light bulbs. Look at Fox News, all these people being highly paid, and they constantly push stories like they were saying live repeatedly over and over. This Costello guy is going to come in and it's the kill shot. He will change the thing and he will turn the jury around. No, he didn't. He turned it against Trump even more, right? So they've done this before multiple times. And MTG, same thing. She does things and then they blow up in her face, including that I thought what what is her name? Crockett, the young woman from Texas, the lawyer. She was
with the eyelashes.
Yeah, she was hilarious though. I thought that was the most hilarious question, because without using her name, she got it in there. So anyway, that's another example of people that are currently in the news, but the confluence of planets, the way they act, and so on, is turning against them. Though I still don't think that it'll be enough to throw her out of office, though. I don't. I think
Oh, I think
MTG.
that right, those people in Georgia like her.
That's the point. You know that.
Yeah, but she'll be a nothing burger. And then when the January 6th thing comes up and he gets Trump on that and he can go back and get all those insurrectionists, she's one of them.
Yeah, no, she was in on it with Matt Gaetz, and yeah, there are a number of people that were asking for pardons, and I mean that's the thing, right? The thing about the situation we're in is that, I mean, in the end, there has been quite a bit of movement. I mean, in Arizona, they're prosecuting everyone. They did some in Michigan too, in Georgia. It's not like they got away with it, but it takes a while. Look at all the disbarred lawyers too. All these
Yeah.
lawyers that were doing something really awful, and they got disbarred. So you got to focus on what's working. Otherwise, you get really discouraged because and
You
these
know what?
people.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's good.
Well, when I was flying, the guy in front of me over here on this side, his screen had Fox News on the whole time, 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I couldn't hear it. And if I kept my head this way and looked at my screen, I couldn't see it. But every once in a while, when I was looking at something and glanced at the Fox News screen, they had all kinds of nicknames for Biden, ugly nicknames that they would post on the screen.
Oh, I know. It's. I mean, you heard the latest, right? The latest scandal they created to
What?
try to. So the latest scandal is that they are trying to say that because when the FBI raids a place, they have the authority to shoot you. When they come in, they have guns. If you start to whatever, I don't know, pull out your gun, they might kill you. So
Yeah.
they're saying that when they went to retrieve the documents in Mar-a-Lago, they were armed to the teeth and they were trying to kill Trump, right? And yeah, they're saying this, that in fact Trump said, oh, there was like an assassination thing. They're
He
telling them,
wasn't even there.
I know. Well, that's of course. That's they went when he wasn't there. That's one thing. But as Merrick Garland said, Merrick Garland did a little reply saying, when they searched Biden's records, they were armed then too, so they could have killed Biden as well, right? But you see, this is where Merrick Garland, he should have said something more like to say, this whole news thing is really stupid. People that say these things, this is moronic and damaging thinking, and I wish you would stop talking like this. Instead of being so prim and proper, get in their face about it, because these guys have no shame. They're always looking for a
Have no
story,
shame.
make up something. And I mean, now all of a sudden and by the way, we're not talking one or two mentions. All across the board at Fox, all their people saying, oh, this was an assassination attempt and Democrats are trying to kill Trump. And Trump didn't tweet it in that Truth Social thing, how this means Biden is a threat to democracy. Because he's always trying to, Trump is the I'm rubber, you're glue. He hears the attacks and he always flips them around and he says, no, you're the fascist. No, you're the one that's a threat to democracy. But, the FBI, it's part of their rules. The FBI operates that way. It doesn't
And
matter.
like Merrick Garland said, they went into Biden's house armed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, can you imagine if you are a law enforcement on any level, if you go to someone's house and you're not armed, then you're stupid, because what if the person is armed and they shoot you?
Exactly.
It just makes sense to be prepared, but it doesn't mean you go there. In fact, Merrick Garland could have said, ask yourself what kind of plan that is. What kind of, stupid, crazy plan. Oh, the FBI is going to go in to kill the ex-president. Really, at his house.
Yeah.
Does that even make sense?
No,
No.
no.
Yeah.
So, what are you getting on the Iranian, since that death of that Iranian leader? Are you getting anything on that?
I haven't gotten anything on Iran beyond my sense that Iran is one of those countries that is in the upcoming years, and I don't know how long it'll take. I think it'll be this decade sometime, where their regime will change, because they can't hold it up. It's too hard. Their demographics are working against them. They're trying to keep people hemmed in. In a way, they're like what people are trying to do in the U.S. to women. That kind of thing is unsustainable. You can hold on for a while, but it'll blow up in your face. In Iran, it's a little more tricky, but yeah. What do you get? Do you get any?
Yeah, I've always seen Iran going back to how it used to be. Remember, women could wear dresses and no things, and wore pants and went to college, and You would never know Iran is what it is now compared to the 1970s.
Yeah, when the Shah was there. Yeah, well, so yeah, well, that would be a huge transformation though, because they're completely on the other end right now.
Yeah, but it's only a group of people trying to hold them down.
Yeah, yeah. And the only thing is, a lot of those countries in the Middle East, they have a lot of trouble um, running as a democracy. It's hard for them, to
I think
agree.
Russia would have the same trouble.
Yeah,
They're
pretty
so used
much.
to someone telling them what to do.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. You end up with a strong man no matter what.
And somebody asked me about I think his name is Mark Robinson. He's the one that says he doesn't want women to vote anymore. Will he win as governor? I said, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a great message.
Absolutely not in this country.
That's a great message. I
So,
love that.
ATUB says, Andre, is there a world chart that can signify the squashing of fascism everywhere?
Well, I wouldn't call it a world chart. It's the, but yeah, okay, in a sense. So it's the world right now. The key cycle is the Uranus cycle. So Uranus right now is in the region where it was during the pre-Second World War and during the Second World War. So the world was really in a mess. There was a big change happening. So this time, I don't think it's going to be a hot war, but it's unstable. You get the fascists rising, and so there's this conflict about, okay, who's going to be in charge, and so that'll take a while though. I'm guessing later in the decade at the earliest. What do you feel about that? What's your sense of when things possibly settle down?
It does feel a ways away. It doesn't feel right on us. I see the United States fighting this fascism here right now, though.
Yeah, no, well, we're in the midst of
Trump
it. Yeah.
won't end it. Even when Trump's gone, it doesn't completely end, but they'll be scattering like mice. They'll be scattering.
Yeah, well, there is one. I'll tell you one. My namesake, that astrologer that predicted the pandemic in 2011, and then he died in 2019. And the way he was doing, he's the guy also that pinned the Saturn Neptune to Russia. Very clever. He could see the planets that were linking these countries, right? He said that correctly, because remember, he was saying this before he died, right? And he said the early 2020s are really bad, but by 2026 it starts to really improve. So
Good.
let's take us.
I saw that.
And the reason he's saying that, when you look at the planets, is the planets start to make really nice angles in the mid 2020s. So then, in comparison to in the pandemic, they're all clustered in one place, and that can lead to trouble, right? When you get planet clustering. So that's what happened.
Right. Now, have you looked at people are asking questions like psychic questions.
What kind of question are you asking?
No, this is because astrology is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But people are asking about Bannon. Have you had a look-see at him?
Yeah, Bannon. He's in the he's a Sagittarius, and look at the news, right? That it was recently he tried to bypass his sentence, but it looks like he's going to have to spend some time in jail.
And there's something else he's coming to trial for, and guess who the judge is? Marchand.
Well, that wouldn't be good news. Yeah, if you get truthful judges, there's a problem, because these guys operate out of falsehoods. Yeah, that's what it is. And so Bannon, I don't think, has a great future. He's also expecting, he keeps telling people about all these things they're going to do, all these plans that they have, but plans are plans. Then you have to execute them, and you have to win for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Andre, my birth chart only has activity on the top of the chart between the 9 and 3 o'clock areas. Does this mean anything?
9 and 3 o'clock. That's 9 and 3 o'clock. No, okay, wait. 9 and 3 o'clock. Oh, you mean like the top part. So yeah, the top part, especially if they cluster near the very top, they're people that they want to be in the world. They want to be influencing things. They always want to be working on something and connecting with people. It's the kind of chart that, as you're aging, it's hard to retire, because you always want to be part of the world and and connecting with people. It's like with yours, for instance, you have your Jupiter in in an information releasing house, that's why you're always putting up videos, because you want to put things into the world, right? If you put that
Right.
in a sequestered house, then you wouldn't be as interested. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
a
I noticed everything's all like on the upper left-hand side. Everything's up right here.
yeah.
All
Yours
activity
is
right in one place.
right, which is that's the on the side that of the clock that goes from 6 to 12 this way on the left. That's the in a chart it's called the east, and that's self-driven. It's someone that will just make their own way and start things. They just say, okay, I'm going to start this, and then they don't wait for life to show them something. They just do it, and then things happen as a result. But the one thing I was bringing up was that Jupiter, which is a really important planet, it's in a place of publishing. So you wrote a book, and all your videos are publishings, and any kind of information outflow comes from that house, right?
But I'll tell you, dreams don't come true because I always wanted to be a famous pole dancer, and that just wasn't going to happen. Just wasn't going to happen.
I know. Well, there's still time.
So, Marcia says, since you have been explaining 45 Pluto in the 12th house, I am just a shade younger than he, but I have my sun in Aries, 27 degrees, moon in Pisces, 23 degrees, Mercury in Aries, 3 degrees, Venus in Pisces. Should I thank my lucky stars that I have the Taurus? Oh, and her ascendant is 5 degrees in Taurus. Should I thank my lucky stars that I have the Taurus, or else would I be off the wall like 45?
No, they're not. They're not. Those charts are lots of people. Look, you have planets in the 12th, like her. All those Aries planets are in the 12th. You have your Virgo planets in the 12th. The 12th sign is a place where just go spiritual, do a lot of spiritual work. That's the high end of that house. The low end of that house is prison, right? What Trump does. They're both sequestrations. So monastery, consciousness, 12th house, your life will go just fine. You can overcome your karma. You can feel better and better. But if you commit crimes, then the law comes looking for you. Or in your case, I mean, it's also a health house. So you've dealt with some health things. You also worked as a nurse, right? But the high end of that house is very psychic because the 12th sign is where it's all coming from spirit. It just, illuminates you. So a person with 12th sign, my counsel is do a lot of spiritual work, meditation, just keep working on it over and over, and you'll discover yourself and overcome problems. And don't pay attention to, sometimes they'll say online, the 12th house is the house of self-undoing. It's the house of self-undoing until you discover yourself, and then you're fine. Like how
And
you,
I was, if you read my book, I was very self-undoing.
yeah, exactly. But then you turned it around, and
Yeah.
and it's ultimately a spiritual discovery. But notice that it came from a health crisis, right? In your case,
Right.
which is
And
yeah.
you know that nosebleed thing that was so scary? It came and it went. Not a thing I was worried about flying.
Oh yeah, because that could happen there, right? With the
Nothing.
pressures and all that. Nothing. Good. Yeah. That's great.
Margie wants to know, what does astrology tell us about global warming? Can it tell us anything?
Indirectly, like the global warming is part of the pattern that we're in, because whenever you see big cycles where the entire world is adjusting, you need big topics, because you have to ask, well, why is the world adjusting? And the climate is a major problem for all the countries, and it introduces an element of unpredictability because you can get unexpected catastrophes, then you have to deal with them. So it's like that, but you can't really. It's not like you can point to a planet and say, it's because this thing heats the planet or anything like that. I think it has to do with the Uranus cycle a lot, though, because Uranus, when you think about global warming, the scientists say it is caused by industrialization and technology. So Uranus was discovered in 1780 something or 1790. That's the beginning. We've spent all this time warming the atmosphere. So now this planet is back to where it started. When planets come back, 84 years, every 84 years it comes back. So it's back there now. So it's up for review. And honestly, I don't know how you can solve the problem without technology too. This has gone too far. They're going to have to come up with something, and I think they will. I think they'll come up with methods to somehow neutralize the carbon or something.
And we might have a little ET help from the outside.
Well, that would be good.
You never
Yeah.
know. You never know.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bunch of questions here, but unfortunately, most of them are psychic questions. They're not astrology related. But
Right.
we did good, almost over 45 minutes, right?
Oh yeah, no, you and I
Yeah.
seem to cover, we cover
But of
enough
those
ground.
who wrote psychic questions, I'll probably do another short video tomorrow and go
Mhm.
over those ones. Somebody asked about the Robinson thing again, which you wouldn't know who he was. You probably haven't looked. The one that said he doesn't want women to vote. Is
No,
he going to
well,
win as governor? And
no, I
no
mean, just that's the kind. There, I just use
sense.
my political radar. I've done this, politics for the last 25 years. A statement like that is a suicide statement. Period. Doesn't matter. Even in a red state, don't say that. If I'm your advisor, just like I would have said to Christine Ohm, do not talk about shooting dogs. No, just don't do that. Because I don't care how mean you think you are. It's not a good idea in
He
this
was almost
country.
acting, showing off, like, see what I do to dogs that are no good. But you notice you're not hearing anything about her anymore. She's a has-been, I'm gonna tell you right now. She's done and dusted.
Yeah, and by the way, that's another way that astrologers work is that when you see a person go through something like that, you go look to see, okay, what's happening? Saturn. Saturn is the one. Every time she had Saturn, then, and now in her case, Trump's problem is bigger. So his Saturn moves around, then, hits him, then leaves him alone for a while, hits him again. Hers might be the one thing, but it's enough to end it. It can totally damage you and leave you on the side of the road. And she's still a governor, but she probably had ambitions, to be, I don't know, VP or. But again, how smart are you? How smart are you? You want to be VP and you can't even figure that out.
And even Bannon they were making fun of her. Like, what the heck? She killed the dog. Even Bannon, who's totally pro anybody that loves Trump. But they were
Yeah.
like, done. She's crispy done.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean, in a way, psychic has this feeling of looking ahead, right? It's much like astrology. So you got to ask yourself, this woman starts talking about dogs, and then she goes on TV, gets one thing, bad interview after another. Doesn't something in her mind tell her, this probably isn't going to work, so I think I won't do this? No, she goes in there, and again, she was punished multiple times. Even on Fox News, the person was saying, well, what did you think was going to happen? One of the things that's so sad about this is that these MAGA people seem to care more about dogs than people. Not that I'm saying, not
Oh,
that I'm
yeah.
saying that dogs are great animals and everything, but why don't you at least love people as much as you love dogs, right? Because they have no
I'm
problem.
gonna tell you something too. I'm feeling the pulse of Texas changing. And I'm gonna tell you one thing that is upsetting a lot of people quietly in Texas, not only the treatment of women, but that guy giving a full pardon to the man that killed the Black Lives Matter. He killed him, cold blood, and he
Yeah.
pardoned him.
Yeah, Texas is
Texas isn't gonna forget that.
no,
The
no.
only ones that'll make the hey, yeah, is the white nationalists. That's it.
Yeah, I know that I came across this thing with I think the governor or someone in Minnesota, because Trump was saying he was going to win Minnesota, and I think it was the governor who said, he said Biden was closer in Texas than Trump was in Minnesota, so you can forget that idea, in terms of making.
Oh,
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
telling everybody he thinks he's gonna win New York.
oh yeah, in California, and of course, yeah, he's gonna clean up. He's gonna run the table. I mean, I'm telling you, the perfect title for him is he says, he says, he says, he says. That's Trump. Just a list of all kinds of things that he just makes up.
But
He just makes.
also his people, the people that work for him, his sons, uh, they were showing, look what happened. Junior said, look what happened with my dad in New York. Look at all the people that came out. And someone was driving with a
There were no
motorcade
people.
and showing everybody on the streets waving, not one red hat, not one white flag. And somebody called it and said, that's when Biden came to New York.
Right. And by the way, that's another. Take those as positive signs about the situation we're in, because if he was getting many people, that would be more worrisome, right? But what's happened is that they've seen them all go to jail, and they're thinking, I don't think so. They also realized you can't just go around with your phone filming yourself. That ends up at the FBI. Not a good plan. so they just don't bother coming, right? And
Right.
you know, that's a fact. And I don't think he likes that. I think he's probably pretty upset about that. But
Right,
that's the
and they
thing.
use false, big crowds, fake crowds to act like that's what show. And he's saying that they're cutting him off. They're not letting my people come in.
No,
Hello?
no, it's not true. No, no, he's just making it up. Yeah, but see, that's the thing is he thrives on. He's used to, you know. He told. Do you remember that thing when that horrible tape, the Access Hollywood tape, where he was saying, "If you're a star, they let you do it," and all that stuff, right? And Billy Bush was in that he was a man in the on the bus, and he had I think a job with I don't know NBC or CBS or something. And I remember reading this article years ago in the paper in the New York Times, where uh, Billy Bush said to Trump, "Well, why do you always tell so many lies to people? You're always lying." And Trump responded, "I don't worry about that." He said, "You just tell people anything and they believe you, right? That's how he operates." And the thing is, because he knows what they really want, right? And so then the lies don't matter to them. So he lies. Then, of course, the next thing is everybody lies. I just lie better than they do, right?
Yeah,
But I don't think that's true, no pun intended, because, for example, for every lie Biden tells, Trump does 700 lies. And, you know, there's a difference, you know, if something
right.
is a little bit off. So don't tell me everybody lies. That's not true. You know, he's a serial liar, as Bernie says, pathological, you know,
And then
pathological.
he's having diplomatic people come. It's totally against the law. He's not president. He's not supposed to be entertaining people from other countries, but he's doing it, flat out doing it.
Yeah, no, but that's part. See, that's part of his gig. He does the thing where he creates the reality before it's actually true to try to make it true, and he gets assistance from a lot of people. This, by the way, learn from that for yourself, because people that do that for themselves in some manner, not like him. I mean, that's criminal. If you do it in a good way, you know, he's focused. He moves forward, and life, the universe, always rewards focus. Always. If you focus, you'll get a lot of things happening. Of course, if you focus the way he's focusing, you'll attract the law, and then that's not good. But you know, so don't do that.
Well, you told me when I first started having you on the show, and you said to me that based on his chart, the guy gets away with everything. But pretty soon that's going to reverse. And you
Yes.
were right.
Yeah. No. And it's we're in the process of reversing. We're in the process.
Yeah.
You know, look, a lot of that was common sense. When he was president, it's very hard to take the guy down unless the party takes him down, and they weren't going to. The
No.
people that are around them, they're basically too weak, you know, to step in there. So
Yeah.
it was never going to happen. And now it's happening more because his party's not in power, right? And obviously, if you put him back in power, then you've got major problems because he'll block everything again, right? That's why it's
Right.
the most important thing is to defeat him in November. And he's
What an
going back.
idiot. And then he went up there with people dying and he said, oh, this is a temporary virus. It'll go away, maybe 30 days. No
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, and drink bleach, and by the way, some of them did. That's the thing that's really crazy because they're saying now this thing they're pushing out there about this assassination attempt that is all made up. A crazy person might do something crazy because there's always a nut somewhere,
You were
right?
going to assassinate my president. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and by the way, if you think, well, all right, these people get away with everything. Okay, well, look what happened to Paul Pelosi. He got hit in the head with a hammer. How much did that guy get? I think it was 30 years. Was it worth it? Is it really worth it to go in and do that and get 30 years? I don't think so. That's a long time, you know, to go to jail for that. So
Yeah.
the law continues to operate, you know, whether or not
Yeah.
you think so, right?
Yeah. And he acts like everything's no big deal. He's such a fluent liar. That's
Oh,
his first language.
yeah, yeah. That's the secret. His secret is they teach this in business courses. Be congruent. When you're saying something, say it looking at the person's eyes, say it directly. The problem is he lies when he's doing that. He does it, you know, like he's convincing himself that it's true. He's going to convince you that it's true, right?
Also, he's got that blustering attitude. Don't dare question me. And they were all blustering, telling the judge, this is Mr. President, President Trump. And Judge Marchand keeps calling him Mr. Trump.
Well, of course, because he's
Yeah.
not president.
You
Yeah.
will address him as President Trump. No, you don't have to do that. He's not
I
president.
mean, he's risking, like, if Marchand wanted to laugh at him, it's like, remember those movies way back when, the Pink Panther movies, and there was this thing where the current inspector kept calling the other inspector the ex-inspector, and it was like a veiled insult. So imagine if Marchand had started referring to him as get the ex-president in order, like constantly call him the ex-president, because
Yeah.
he would hate that, right? He wants
hates
to be acknowledged as, or get 45 under control.
He's
Yeah.
going. Now, the key to here too, I know we're getting over an hour. The key here too is, will he actually show up for the debate?
The thing is that everything I say about this guy is based on assuming that he runs into the cycles and he's all there. The problem is he may not be. There are health angles swirling around him, right? So that constantly remains on the table. If that happens, it totally changes the situation. He may not even get to the election period at all, much less debates or anything else.
Right.
But I have a feeling, my feeling about the debate is that he knows he has to debate Biden. He keeps saying, oh, I'm ahead, I'm winning. I think they know that this is not really true. They need to embarrass Biden. But that's another thing that he's convinced, and they are too, that Biden is easy to embarrass. He's not easy to embarrass. You're putting him at risk. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen this. You saw it with Costello. They're very good at doing this. They jump in. They're totally sure we're going to look good doing this. Biden was smart. No crowd. There will be no one watching, and
Yeah.
the mic gets turned off. I'm amazed they haven't done that before. By the way, that is such an
You
obvious
have to
thing.
with them.
Well, yeah, but it should be. Don't you think you'd want to run a debate by that, like saying,
Especially, we've never had anybody like Trump or that guy that one starts with a V. What's his name? The
"Oh
guy-
yeah, Ramaswamy,
he
Ramaswamy"?
didn't shut up. He would never shut up.
Yeah, no, and it's the way to shut them up is to turn off the mic. Just
Let me
say,
ask you something. Do you feel that maybe Nikki Haley said she would vote for Trump with a little bit of hope that he might drop dead? And then maybe she could be the one thrown in there and they would put her in there because she said she'd vote for Trump?
okay, I never thought of that, but that's very clever, Linda.
I just thought of that.
Yeah, that's very very possible. Yeah, very possible
What if he
that.
doesn't make it to the thing? Maybe they'll slide me in.
Yeah, and the thing is, if that happens, Nikki Haley, in a way, is more dangerous to Biden than Trump, but not dangerous enough.
Not now, especially when she
No.
said she was going to vote for Trump. She pissed
Exa-
off the ones that were voting for her.
Exactly, and no matter who you put there, doesn't matter. The problem they have with women is insurmountable. You cannot get around that. It's going to cause the loss, right? In fact,
Well,
we'll see.
my friend-
When the time comes, when we get to the analysis of the vote, my prediction is that they'll say this was what sank them.
Yeah.
The ship sank because they Dobbs, the Supreme Court and the whole thing. That's what I
Yeah.
think is going to happen. Yeah.
So, well, my friend.
All right, that was fun as
hopefully
always.
I'll catch you next Thursday. Who knows if we'll have a verdict?
Yeah, the odds are pretty well. If not a verdict, they'll be pretty close. But there's reasonable odds because I don't see them. Do you see them spending too much time? No.
Oh, and somebody on the news said if they do spend too much time, it works in Trump's favor. But they've got like 36 indictments to go through.
Yeah, but the 34 of them they're just records. I mean, unless you say
Yeah.
maybe you convict them on 32 out of the 30.
I think by Friday they could be done and dusted.
Yeah, odds are good. Yeah, and also end of the month. Yeah, I'll be putting up a video on that showing the astrology so you can see the
Okay.
hit, right? Yeah.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Bye, everyone.